9. In fact, we have some more big news coming in now. Well, former Chief Minister Dharam Singh trails. This is the big news that we're now tracking. And BJP's
Bhagwant Kuba is now leading by over 10,000 votes. He is a pretty controversial candidate. But besides that, this is something we need to note. Shashi Tharoor is trailing in Thiruvananthapuram. But of course, in Bidar, former Chief Minister Dharam Singh is trailing. It is Bhagwant Kuba who is leading by over 10,000 votes in Bidar. A little too early, of course, to go ahead and predict exactly how this will go. But as of now, these are the early trends we're bringing you. In Bidar, former Chief Minister Dharam Singh seems to be struggling just a bit. Bhagwant Kuba seems to have taken the lead by over 10,000 votes, and Shashi Tharoor trailing in Thiruvananthapuram. A bit of a surprise coming in there. But also talking about the BJP, I'd like to ask Mr. Tyagaraj, when talking about the BJP, do you think that they took the right decision in bringing back Yediyurappa and Sriramulu? Because if you look at the numbers as of now, it is being said that Yediyurappa is leading by about 15,000 votes in Shimoga.
See, for the BJP, it was inevitable that Yediyurappa had to return to the party fold, because we know what happened in the assembly election. They got a beating which perhaps they could have avoided in terms of numbers, if not this thing. Yes, they needed Yediyurappa very much, and also Sriramulu, because again Dalit and backward votes do matter. And to that extent, I think it would definitely, in the event the results come out in their favor, Yediyurappa's thing would count a lot in having got the numbers that they've got for him.
So, Professor Azadi, so corruption was never an issue here?
Yes, corruption was covered actually, whatever it may be. But you know that I was just wondering about the argument with regard to the Yediyurappa's coming back to BJP fold. Was it the vote? I mean, whether Yediyurappa's presence has brought the vote back to the BJP, or is it the absence of the KJP has brought the vote to the BJP? That's these two things we have to say. Okay. Look at Lingas, where if you look at the caste equations, Lingas, dominant caste, is basically with the BJP right from the beginning, particularly after fiasco with the Virendra Patil right in 1980s, when Virendra Patil was thrown out, and subsequently the Ramakrishna Hegde consolidated Lingas vote, even though he was a Brahmin. In fact, the Lingas were with the BJP along with, all these years, with the fact that the Congress has not been able to provide an alternative leadership to the Lingas. So the whole question is that this time the Lingas were not very, very happy with the Yediyurappa, but they were happy with Narendra Modi. In fact, that's the reason why I would definitely think that if the BJP has received any votes, not because of the Yediyurappa, not because of his corruption, but because of the Narendra Modi factor.
Yeah.
In fact, as much as the BJP wanted Yediyurappa also wanted to get back into the BJP. Probably he also realized that building a party from scratch will definitely take a lot of effort, a lot of time, minimum of maybe about 5 to 10 years. His already age is not on his side. Probably he realized this factor and just wanted to get back to the BJP.
Professor Datta.
Two quick comments. First is, if you look at where Yediyurappa actually campaigned after coming back to the party this time, he was not a visible force, right? You couldn't see him campaigning actively. But as Professor Asadi said, it brings back the social coalition that BJP had successfully created, right? That was the core reason why it had succeeded all these years, from 2004 election onwards, right? So bringing backward caste groups, especially by bringing back Sriramulu, and then having not the, if the Lingayat vote is not splitting, and that, is a consequence of Yediyurappa coming back, all those small, even if it's a 2%, 3%, 4% additional vote, it matters a lot in the end in making the contest closer and in, making
quickly,
BJP more successful.
It looks like going by early trends, Narendra Modi is just about 85 seats away from the magic figure. So this is, of course, only going by early trends. We will have to wait for the consolidated number in a bit. But coming to you, Ms. Shaswati, do you think Yediyurappa needs BJP as much as the BJP needs him?
Yeah, such marriages don't happen if it's just a requirement of one side. They both needed each other. But then the simple point that I wanted to make on the basis of what's been discussed earlier is, you see, development was a projection. The election is actually being won on social engineering. So a lot of things don't change, whether it is Narendra Modi or anybody else. At the end of the day, to get your poll arithmetic right, you have to bank on social divisions. And that is the sad part of electoral politics in India, which the Aam Aadmi Party has been making a consistent effort to try and change, saying that the focus must be on issues rather than on castes and communities. Unfortunately, this election, we're not seeing that change dramatically.
You know, I want to add on to what you said, because I was just reading yesterday what analysts believe. They said that the likely effects of BJP and Modi are these. They give 3 points: no change in corruption, greater dominance of business corporations, and communal polarization.
See, all three can be very easily explained. Why is the stock market reacting so disproportionately to the event? You know, one is because it's controlled by speculators, and speculators love something like this. You know, so anything is a good excuse to push the market up or down, any which way, because whether it's up or down, it's the same set of people who are getting to do it. But why is corporate India so gung-ho about it? Because Gujarat is the only place where, and this is something Modi has understood very well, that if you want the corporates on your side, give them free land or give them near free land. Exactly. Because land is coming at, you know, land is such a commodity. Everyone wants it, whether it's a farmer who wants his land, whether it's Anwar or me, we want our little plots to build our homes, and industry wants land. So if you can,
industry cannot be in the air, madam. It has to be on the ground.
No. I didn't say you have to be in the air. I said it's got to do with the price of land. It's got to do with the price of land, not land per se. Everyone will give you land. The question is, what is the price?
Here in Chamarajnagar, they are talking of 61 lakhs.
Mr. Raman, everything has an answer, okay? But there is an answer that we love hearing, and there is an answer which is right. There's a difference between the two. So the price that Modi offers is the price that industry likes to hear.
Exactly.
You know, which is why industry is so gung-ho about Narendra Modi, because they all think they're all going to get good land. Not Adanis alone, but everybody is hoping to get good land. If that doesn't happen, then just wait and watch what happens.
When a person does a good administration gets
But he will finish, Mr. Raman.
The point
Mr. Raman.
is, election is about how you appease the downtrodden, how you appease the maximum of the weaker section, the maximum of the weaker section. So you have to dole out. But unfortunately, the dole comes only when industry produces, and nobody is caring for the industry now. The last 5 years, we have seen that industry is given very, very, very poor attention.
Professor Datta, you don't accept that?
You know, if you look at the maximum subsidies which are given in this country, the maximum bank loans which are, when farmers' loans are waived, it becomes big news. But when lakhs of crores of rupees are waived for industrialists, it doesn't become news. So, not to be honest about the subsidies
big companies. You see, the small companies are lesser defaulters. If you see, if 50,000 crores is the NPA, 48,000 crores is made out of large companies. 2,000 crores is coming from MSMEs.
Then let's speak honestly about SMEs
only. A good deal for MSMEs.
Let's not speak about industry as a sector then, right?
All right.
So what Shashwati was saying, right? I mean, you can't hide these things. You have to talk about openly. If that's your policy, be honest about it, and let's have a debate over what we're going to do in this country. If you're going to give Nanofactory 1,000 acres of land at near free cost, right? That too land which belongs to an agricultural university. If 1 inch of GKBK is given to anybody, there's going to be riots in this city, right? But it happens in Gujarat and nothing happens. So what kind of a political culture are we going to see in the near future? These are the kinds of questions we should be talking about.
To add to what Prithvi is saying, just to add to what Prithvi is saying, there is nothing wrong or right. It's not a moralistic position saying should this land be given or should it not. What is the stated policy? Is there a policy? If your policy is that I give away land free, because I know if industry comes in, there will be employment generation and it benefits my state. If that's your stated policy, that's your stated policy, right? So, but you can't do both. You can't say, no, I'm not giving away land, I'm not doing it when you are, and you can't say no, but magically employment will get generated. Mr. Raman has a point that, without industrial growth, you're not going to see large-scale employment, which is what our country needs. So, when you talk about the Gujarat model of development, apart from all the other indices that we mentioned, what I would personally like to understand, what is the driver of that growth?
Correct.
You know, what is that one single big idea which is making Gujarat different from the rest of the country? Because if I look and I read, I can't find any. So I still need to understand what is that one big idea.
Let Anwar respond.
It's not a joke, I'm telling you. I had been to Gujarat twice. One was earlier, okay. The second one when I was writing a book on Narendra Modi on the Godhra incident aftermath. Narendra Modi, victim of manipulation, which was written by me. So I had not been Narendra Modi at all. I went around all the places. I went and spoke to the industries, I went and spoke to the farmers, I went and spoke to the businessmen, I went and spoke to the Muslims, I went and spoke to the Christians, all these guys. I got a good response from everyone saying that industrialists are saying that we are very happy about it because there is no much of hassle that our other branches find in other states. And the farmers are saying we are getting all that necessary thing, what we are getting it and we are happy about it. And you speak about women, the best part of women. Women are very, very happy in Gujarat. Any person whom I speak to, they say it's one of the best places we ever lived in because I've lived in Delhi, I've lived in Mumbai.
Right.
This is the best place. This is not. Everywhere, everyone whom I interviewed, and which I put in my book too, and with the names, they are all talking good about him. Right. Come on, now we sitting here, we cannot say he has done this, he has done this, earlier it was good, the entrepreneurial, no. When this country has really, when the state has really done well, not only in development and keeping the people happy and in peace and the amiable situation, you should appreciate
Mr.
that.
Sharma?
Right.
Yeah,
Very quickly.
I just wanted to put him because I did a detailed project, investment project on Gujarat and Maharashtra for The Economist. That was way back in '95. So what is happening in Gujarat is not necessarily only because of Narendra Modi. Per se, Gujarat has been rather more receptive to the demands and needs of the industry. So to that extent, what is happening in Gujarat is a follow-up of what's been in the past trend. But definitely, yes, you just cannot...
Why did it take 6
Once
years,
again,
sir?
let Mr. Sharma make his point. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, yes, Modi obviously has done something for the industry for it to be so
He's worked as
enthused
a good
about.
catalyst.
Definitely, you
Okay,
cannot
yeah.
dismiss it. And in terms of availability of land, okay, there might be controversies associated with this. The fact is he managed to bring in a huge amount of investment into the state. In the process, you have to take the benefits from the spin-off, which in terms of employment, direct, indirect and associated this thing, that if it neutralizes the loss that you might suffer in terms of what you may have given us by way of dole, definitely compensates for the efforts that have been made.
Right.
Quickly,
Very
Professor.
quickly. Okay. Clearances are quicker, power is plentiful, all these things nobody can dispute. These are facts.
Yes.
Right? But my simple question is this. When Narendra Modi took office, Gujarat, if you're looking at the GDP size of states, was in the 5th position. Today, it's still in the 5th position. Where is the wanted growth which has catapulted Gujarat to the #1 state?
They are in the second position, sir.
They are in the 5th position.
No, it is
They're
in the
still in the 5th
5th
position only.
But overall, the
So
whole
if you're looking at
world
the fact
is
that
Whole world is talking
economically
about
at
it.
a low level.
no. That's
So
not the
it
point.
is-
That's
and
not
that
the
is
point.
a good
If it has
activity
been, if
that
it
the
has
whole
been,
world is talking
if it
about.
has been growing at a faster pace, granted it started from a weak, from a smaller base compared to Maharashtra, compared to Tamil Nadu. Even then, what ought to have been the size of the economy of the GDP of Gujarat had it grown at that spectacular rate?
That's what Shashwati was also making a point then.
It's still in the 5th place.
But
It has not overtaken even a
GDP
SAS.
always the mirror?
No,
For the state's economic growth, yes it is.
No,
yes it is.
Okay,
No,
then
because
if
this
it
is
is
what the BJP
okay,
has
then if
always
it's showing,
been saying, the
no, then
GDP
if
is
it's
good.
showing at that kind, why the people in Gujarat, the industry, the farmers, the people, the women, the youth,
I have also
everybody
been to
happy,
Gujarat.
and they're talking about their prosperity.
I
No,
have been to Gujarat.
There are just two things that surprise me a lot.
We have studied Gujarat.
Well, in fact, we have some...
Right. Quickly, we'll just take in some updates here. First of all, Rahul Gandhi is trailing very, very badly in Amethi, is what we understand. So maybe we could be looking at an upset. A little too early to say, but
Can I
yes.
make a comment on that?
Sure, Professor.
There's been some speculation about Rahul Gandhi's weakness in Amethi, right? There were stories in Outlook, in other magazines, and I also read a very interesting factoid in Economic Times. Apparently, recently, about a year ago or 6 months ago, Rahul Gandhi was challenged by a Congress worker to name five Congress activists from Amethi. He couldn't name any. He couldn't name any.
But that is something the
That's
locals
why
have
his
also
sister
stated
was
that
brought
his
over
sister
there.
knows